So this is today's photo, and here we go. So our article is on getpocket.com. So they're a resource of lots of different stories from different websites. That's particularly why we use it, because there's such a wide variety of stories here. So this one is titled, My Anxiety Had Something to Teach Me. Profound fear points me to what I must write about next. Exhibit author R.O. Kwan. This last bit I didn't quite understand, but when I just read the first few paragraphs, and so Exhibit is the name of the book that she's writing, and that's the name of the author, R.O. Kwan. She's
Mm.
Korean, I believe. That's my understanding. Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So that's a Getty's image there. Let's scroll on to the reading. So here we go. Do you fancy going first, and then maybe I'll read second?
Yeah, sure. Often daily, and for almost a decade, I've had to fight it off. I have plied almost every wile, stunt, and tip I've heard of using fire, ice, spikes, and iron, cajoling and hollering, pleading and ridiculing, trying to kill or at least quell it. An alarm's so loud, its ring so urgent that I can feel as if I am dying. Only as if, though. If I believed the alarm enough to say, go to the hospital, I'll be told I'm all right. And that's in my head. It's nothing but anxiety.
Mm. Want to read the next paragraph too? There we go.
For most of my life, the anxiety was under control. I thought it a friend, a benign sentinel guiding me away from errors I'd regret. It pushed me to live up to promises, to plan ahead, to avoid hurting others. If it also meant I lived on edge, fretful, inclined to picturing worst-case scenarios in lurid, extravagant detail, so what? It kept its vigil, this anxiety, with the hope of keeping me safe. Plus, for all I knew, perhaps I kept others safe, too. My private disquiet, a protective spell I flung across my beloved lives. It's the most obvious sign I care about a person. If I love you, I'm fretting about you.
Yes. Very, very good reading. Well done. Maybe I'll just read it back again, from the top down. I'll do the very first paragraph, then perhaps we'll have a look at that in more detail. So, often daily, for almost a decade, I had to fight it off. I applied almost every wile, stunt, and tip I've heard of, using fire, ice, spikes, and iron, cajoling and hollering, pleading and ridiculing, trying to kill or quell it at least. An, an alarm so loud, its ring so urgent that I can feel as if I'm dying. Only as if, though, if I believed the alarm enough to, say, go to hospital, I'd be told I'm all right. That it's all in my head, it's nothing but anxiety. There we go. I think I stuck the odd extra word in somewhere, like another all up here somewhere. So I do tend to imagine words that aren't really there. Um,
What
anything
is, yeah,
interesting there? Yeah.
what is hollering mean?
We don't really use it a great deal in the UK, but in the America they tend to use this, and it means shouting out loudly, shouting out.
Hmm.
So cajoling, you're trying to persuade someone with reasoned logic and perhaps that sort of thing. And hollering is shouting at them, isn't it? So she's trying everything, logic and shouting. But this is against this person's anxiety, it seems. When I read while, first of all, I thought they'd missed out the H. But
Hmm.
this is while as in trick. So
Yeah.
wily, you might say. That tricked me to start with, actually. Ridiculing, quell. quelled's quite doesn't get a great deal of use, but obviously that's I think you said it quite well. Any words you're not quite so sure of there that want to go back over again or anything?
Um,
Not really.
I wasn't so cajoling, correct pronunciation? Cajoling,
Yeah, cajoling, cajoling,
cajoling.
cajoling. Yeah.
Ridiculing,
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So ridicule and then
ridicule,
ridiculing,
ridiculing,
ridiculing. Sounds a bit like
ridicule.
ridiculous, doesn't it? But not
Yeah,
really. Ri so ridiculing.
ridicule,
So I think we
ridicule.
rushed the first bit a little bit. So most people rush it a little bit. So once you sort of said half the word, most people know what you're going to say, really, because there's not many words like that. So ridiculing.
Ridiculing,
Yeah,
ridic
I think that's spot on. That last time you said that was spot on, I would say.
mhm.
Yeah, ridiculing. Um, some of the words are a little bit unexpected. So when you come up to them, or when we come up to them, we think, "Oh, what am I going to say here?" So I think when you say to this word, it didn't sound quite as I expected. Do you want just to do that half a line again? That little bit there again, just to check it again.
Yeah. Um, I've played almost every while
Y-
stunt and tip.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's pretty good, I would say. So I've plied, as in sort of like applied. I've plied almost every wile, stunt, and tip. Yeah, plied.
Mm-hmm.
You might
Plied.
ply someone with alcohol if you want to get them drunk. I've never done that, of course. Um, was it
Um,
hospital? Yeah, I think hospital, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. Do you fancy just so that one word there? Do you fancy just rereading that? Well, let's say that line to the bottom maybe. So if I believe, but it was hospital in particular. Just that bit again.
yeah. Um, if I believed the alarm enough to say go to the hospital, I'll be told I'm all right. That's in my head. It's nothing but anxiety.
Hmm. Okay. So if I believed the alarm enough to say go to hospital, I'd be
Hmm.
told I'm all right. That's that it's in my head. It's nothing but anxiety. Yeah. So hospital,
I'm
hospital.
not sure I understand the meaning of this sentence at all. Because if I believe the alarm enough to say go to the hospital, I'll be told I'm all right. I'm not sure I understand the meaning.
Hmm. So the writer seems to have written this book. I think it was called Exhibit, and so we're getting a little bit of a look into her head here. So she seems to suffer from anxiety, and this is her own life experience. This little bit we've just read, and I think we're just experiencing what's happening inside her head. So what was it? So she's had this, I don't know, anxiety attack or panic attack, and she's tried hollering and ice and fire and spikes or whatever. That's incredible. But then she says, if I believe the alarm and all these things happening are like an alarm, I guess. If I believe the alarm enough to say go to hospital, so these things she's experiencing make her go to hospital because she doesn't really know quite what it is. She'd only
Hmm.
be told she's okay. There's nothing wrong with her. It's all in her head. It's only anxiety. That's really
Ah,
what it's
okay.
saying.
Right. Got it. Yeah, got it.
So
No,
it's
okay.
basically it's something like in a panic attack. It feels like that's my reading anyway.
Yeah, okay. I now understand.
So it's sort of she's a writer. She's a book. She writes books. So this is almost like something out of a book, I guess. But it's sort of out of the middle of a scene. There's no real introduction. We go straight into the story, I guess, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can well understand that's tricky. When I read it, it was tricky. Okay, that was all I really noticed there. So hospital. Okay, let's scroll on to this one here then. Let me read this one too. Okay, so for most of my life, the anxiety was under control. I thought it was a friend, a benign sentinel, guiding me away from errors I'd regret. It pushed me to live up to my promises, to plan ahead, to avoid hurting others. If it also meant I lived on edge, fretful, inclined to picturing worst case scenarios in lurid, extravagant detail, so what? It kept its vigil. This anxiety, with the hope of keeping me safe, plus, for all I knew, perhaps it kept others safe too. My private disquiet, my private disquiet, a protective spell I flung across my beloved's lives, in the most obvious sign I'd care about a person. If I love you, I'm fretful. Oh, sorry, I'm fretting about you. I'm fretting about you. Again, it's another slightly difficult passage to read. We have a bit more knowledge of what's going on now. It makes a bit more sense.
Yeah. No, that's quite difficult to
Yeah,
read.
it's
Like,
tricky, isn't it?
it's
Yeah.
tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely found it tricky.
Beloveds.
The the most interesting word there I thought was this one here.
Yeah,
So,
beloveds. I wasn't sure about this. Yeah,
yeah.
beloveds.
Did you, is that how you read it? I don't remember. So it looks like beloved, but
Yeah,
it is really,
beloveds. Beloved. I
yeah.
think I said beloveds.
It's always in the recording, I guess. It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter though. So yeah, but I would say, if it was if this were a poet was writing this, writing this, or if it was in the Bible, because I think this word appears in the sort of the Christian Bible, I think they put a little accent over the e to highlight that it's not quite the normal way of saying it. And when you see the little accent there, you end up sort of saying beloved, beloved, or beloved.
Beloved. So is beloveds or beloved?
I don't know if there's any difference really. Difference in meaning, I suppose, but that's
Beloveds. Okay.
beloved. Is one the noun and one the verb? I'm not quite sure now. Beloved, beloved, beloved. They're calling it an adjective, singular noun, beloved. So the adjective can also be pronounced. So it doesn't say how the first way to pronounce it is. So we can see the alternative version. What's the first version though?
beloved,
So beloved and beloved. They're the two. It just doesn't seem to say the other one. Oh, he lost his beloved wife last year.
he lost his beloved wife last year.
Oh, they're saying beloved there.
Beloved.
Yeah, beloved and beloved. Yeah,
Beloved.
so it's much more poetic. Strange that they're saying these little dots here indicate how frequently it's used, and they're saying it's used really quite frequently. I don't see that often at all, frankly. Hardly ever, I would say. So that's that photo again. Let's go back here. Okay. And obviously that's with an S on the end. Um, so benign. I think the pronunciation was really good. I, I didn't really notice anything here, I think, really, in
I
this little
wasn't sure about
chunk.
my pronunciation of the word scenarios. Is it correct? Scenario.
That's great. Scenario. Yeah, that really is
Scenario.
good.
Okay.
Scenario. Yeah.
Um, lurid, correct? Lurid.
Lurid. I would say
Lu-
lurid.
Lurid.
Yeah, lurid.
Lurid.
Let's
Lurid.
pop it into the dictionary. Let's listen for their variation here. Lurid. That's what I would say. Lurid allegations, lurid details. They give an American version, but the British is
lurid,
lurid. So sex, violence, shocking details, it says. Lurid. Let's scroll on to the next one then.
Yeah.
Just say if there's anything you want to mention, of course.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so this one here then. That's a whole paragraph there. Over to you.
Mm-hmm. But at the end of 2019, this control began to slip. I was 5 years into working on my upcoming novel, Exhibit, and I just finished writing a draft that read less like chaos. Sorry. Disjointed scenes, notes, inchoate scraps, and more like a book. Instead of the relief I might expect upon finding that 5 years of work could lead, after all, to a novel, I started gasping. For all I inhaled, I couldn't seem to bring enough oxygen into my lungs. I felt myself to be in terrible peril. I choked and wept. While not the first panic attack I'd known, it was by far the longest, going on for hours. I kept having rolling panic attacks over the next few days, each fit surging into the next, and I didn't know how to stop them.
Hmm. Fantastic. Really good. Okay, so my go then. So, but at the end of 2019, this control began to slip. I was 5 years into working on my upcoming novel, Exhibit, and I'd just finished writing a draft that read less like chaos, disjointed scenes, notes, inchoate scraps, and more like a book, instead of the relief I might expect upon finding that 5 years of work could lead, after all, to a novel. I started gasping. For all I inhaled, I couldn't seem to bring enough oxygen into my lungs. I felt myself to be in terrible peril. I choked, wept. While not the first panic attack I'd known, it was by far the longest, going on for hours. I kept having rolling attacks over the next few days, each fit surging into the next, and I didn't know how to stop them. It sounds really worrying.
So this word inchoate, correct?
Yeah,
Inchoate.
you're saying, I think I said it wrong, then you have it
Yeah,
correctly. Yeah, inchoate. Yes, right. Yeah, inchoate. That's it. Yeah, that's.
inchoate. Yeah, inchoate.
I think I didn't really see it then, so it caught me out there. Yeah, inchoate. So it sort of means not properly formed, doesn't it? I think childish or something like that, doesn't it? I
Yeah,
think. If something is let's listen to how they pronounce it first of all. Inchoate, I think it is, isn't it?
inchoate,
Oh, inchoate, inchoate.
inchoate. Inchoate.
Let's listen to it again. Inchoate.
inchoate,
So in, then then eight. At.
inchoate,
Inchoate. Inchoate.
Inchoate. Inchoate.
Okay. If something is inchoate, it is recent or new and vague and not yet properly developed. Yes, that's it. His dreams were senseless and inchoate. Once again,
inchoate,
inchoate. Got it, I think. That's an unusual word. Doesn't get much use. I think the NG. I think there were a couple of places where there was an NG together, and I think you're saying the NG reasonably quite well, but you sort of you made it slightly long. You stretched it out a little bit. The word, I think I noticed. I'm not quite sure.
Mm.
So so with this word here, lungs, lungs. Do you want to just say it again, maybe?
Lungs.
Lungs. And
Lungs.
again, lungs.
Lungs.
Okay. Okay. And there's another one. I'm trying to think what it was now. It was longest or something. Yeah, there it is there. Longest. There we go. And so there's another NG sound here. I think you sort of stretch. So that's the word anyway. So longest. Longest.
Longest. Longest.
Yeah. It's. I think you're making the sound. You're making the right sound, but you may be just slightly overdoing it, perhaps. So, that's what I would think. Let's listen. Let's listen to this. Go back to the dictionary, Ken. Let's listen to the dictionary. Because they tend to, because it's the only word they're saying, they can overpronounce it, I would suggest. But, oh, this is long, of course. I look for longest. There it is, longest.
longest,
So I'll play it again, then I'll say it, then it's your go, Ilya. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing it now.
longest,
Longest. Your go, Ilya.
Longest.
Yeah. I think you're just slightly overdoing it a little bit. You're just still slightly heavy on the sound there. Um, And I think they're underlining the vowel just after the L. So they're saying, if anything, you emphasize the O just before
Mm.
the NG. Longest sort of thing. So longest, I guess. Long. If I play it again, let's try to hear them over emphasizing the O.
longest,
Yeah, he does emphasize the O, doesn't he? Longest, longest. Yeah. And I think you're doing the NG sound because that is the tricky sound. I can understand why you might do that. I probably do it a little bit too, actually. But
longest,
so, do you want to try it once more? So longest.
Longest.
Oh yeah, I think you changed it a little bit there, but it probably wants a little more practice. So don't overdo the NG sound, but make
Mm.
it the sound just before the O sound. Make that the longer. Make that the bit you emphasize. And I think you did the same with lungs too. So I guess the you let's tap in lungs as well. That's what they say here. I think you emphasize the NG sound. I think as it sounded like. Um, let's hear them say the word lungs.
lungs,
He's really stretching it out the whole word, though, isn't he? Really, sounds quite odd.
lungs,
Yeah. They've underlined the vowel in this little symbols here, which means the U is emphasized and not the NG. So it's lungs. So you're going up for the U and then down sound for the NG. Lungs. So listen to him again. I'm not sure if he's actually doing that, but
lungs,
oh, he is doing that, isn't he? Yeah, he is. But he's stretching out the whole word. He's saying the whole word for a very long length of time, isn't he? So do you want to just say it once more? So lungs, lungs.
Lungs. Lungs.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think you're getting it. Be aware, just be aware of it for the moment. So
Hmm.
don't stretch out, don't stretch the NG. It's interesting it was both of those words. So maybe it's elsewhere too, of course. And it's the same sound, of course, NG with the ING on the end of a word too, isn't it? That's the same sound. Or the NG on the ING.
Hmm.
I can't really see anything else there, really. Interesting story. Just say when you have to go, of course. It's gone half past now.
No,
Okay.
I can spend another 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so there's a little bit here now then. So if I lack a cure, you'll go.
Hmm. If I lacked a cure, I did know the etiology. I don't know what etiology means. Um, I did know the etiology. Exhibit is about a photographer who gets into a clandestine relationship with an injured ballerina. Both are Korean women, and the novel is fueled by desires they've mostly kept hidden, including queer lust, king, and ambition. I'm also a Korean woman. I come from people so reserved about sex that as I was growing up in LA, what I had for parental sex talk was a total ban on sleepovers. It can feel as though I'm risking far too much by writing anything, even fiction, giving giving the slightest indication I might want a great deal for myself, might have desires like my characters.
Okay. Another tricky little reading there, isn't it? Lots of semicolons and commas and things. And not too many full stops. Okay, so and of course yeah, I think you pronounced it just about spot on. So I think it is is that right? No, it's etiology. So it's almost
Etiology.
like you say the first two letters, E, then
Mm.
T, then ology. And you sort of pretend the I isn't there. So you just say the first two letters, etiology, etiology. And I can't think what it means either. um, something like must be the study. I can't remember. That's stupid. So, oh, that's right, yeah. So, the study of a disease or a problem, basically, it's the causes. It's the causes, the
Mm.
study of causes.
Etiology.
I don't really know it as being the disease, study of a disease, but I'd just, well, it's a dictionary. I'll believe what they say. So I think it's etiology, isn't it?
etiology,
Etiology.
etiology,
Yeah.
Etiology. Mm.
And again, they're saying it's quite a commonly used word. I think they're mistaken. It's not that commonly used. It's close to rare, I would say. So etiology, etiology. I think you slipped on that word. So I think it's kink, kink. So something unusual, peculiar, probably
Mm.
sexual. Almost mainly sexual, but it could be anything really. In truth, um,
Ink.
kink.
Kink.
The last K, yeah, the last K, I didn't quite catch it both times. So yeah, kink,
Ink.
kink.
Mhm.
Yeah. So those two letters together, sort of, it's a similar sort of sound to NG, really, when it's NK. Not quite the same, but similar. So there was it clandestine? So, so I would say, let me just read the whole thing. So I think cure, I think the R sound in cure was a bit unusual, and maybe clandestine as a word, and desires. I notice. I think. So let me read the whole thing back. Hopefully, let's see how many mistakes I make. So here we go. So if I lack a cure, I did know the etiology. Exhibit is about a photographer who gets into a clandestine relationship with an injured ballerina. Both are Korean women, and the novel is fueled by desires they've mostly kept hidden, including queer lust, kink, and ambition. I'm also a Korean woman. I come from from people so reserved about sex that as I was growing up in LA, what I had for a parental sex talk was a total ban on sleepovers. It can feel as though I'm risking far too much by writing anything, even fiction, giving the slightest indication I might want a great deal more for myself, might have desires like my characters. I didn't read that quite right, I think, but it's quite a tricky thing to read, isn't it? But of
Mm.
course, it's really meant to be read in your head. Wasn't designed to be read out loud, and so in your head, we read things differently, don't we? I think. Um, so I think when you said cure, so in fact, just those first three or four words there, or five words. Just read that a little bit again, please, if you could.
But if I lacked a cure,
Yeah, yeah. It's just that the cure. So I think you've toned it back a little bit there. So the sort of I think you said cure. So you just overcook the R a little bit for a British sort of ear. Cure, cure. Yeah,
cure,
it's a tricky word. Let's just pop that in the dictionary too. Let's get another another hear another voice saying it. I stuck a comma in. I think that sort of messed it up. So let's let's listen to the British. So it's chance of a cure. They're going to say
chance of a cure,
cure. Yeah, it's interesting. Cure.
chance
cure,
of a cure,
Let's go down. It's a proper way. Oh, let's listen to this one here.
cure,
That's slightly different, isn't it? Cure. That's the normal way, but it's said quite slowly, isn't it? Cure.
cure,
Cure. In everyday speech, I think the words around every single word sort of modify how each word sounds a little bit because you're trying to squeeze it in, and we don't sort of allow each word. It's sort of perfect. Don't allow each word to be announced, to be said perfectly. So yeah, so put in a perfect sense, it's cure, as you were saying. But so if you put it in a sentence, it might be more like, if I lack a cure, I do not know the etiology. So yeah, so cure. That's the everyday way. Cure, I would say. Cure. Do you want to just say it again? But just cure on its own, maybe. So just a short sort of cure, cure.
Cure, cure,
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it?
cure,
Isn't it?
cure.
Um, Now I'm thinking about it. It sounds strange too. So how do you spell that? It sounds like cure, cure, cure. Maybe I don't know.
Cure.
It sounds like we're saying sort of Q. Then I guess we say maybe a W on the end or something like that. Cure, cure, cure. Oh
Cure,
dear. Let's say
cure, cure.
let's go to that say a little bit there again. So if I lack a cure, cure. So cure is tricky. So, but I think you sort of overdid the R when you were doing it. That's the most often the biggest problem I think most people have. Cure, cure. We'll leave that for the moment, I think. I think your pronunciation etiology was better than mine. Maybe that word, I guess, next, I think. So just simply clandestine, clandestine.
Clandestine.
Yeah, so secret or spies, something like that. Clandestine.
I wasn't sure about queer, correct? Queer.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much queer. So it's a bit stronger on the front. I think the front two letters are a bit stronger than you're saying it. Queer. So
Queer,
KW sound, I would say. It's K and then a W.
queer,
Qua.
queer.
Doesn't get a great deal of use. It used to be up until very recently an insult if you said this word to anybody,
Yeah.
and now some people take it as something for a matter of pride. So it's very strange that words change
Queer.
their meaning. Qua, qua.
Did it mean gay in the past? Queer.
Um, is so yeah, it's I think, and it still means gay. It still means gay,
Ah,
really.
it
But
still means gay. Okay.
but it sort of also means something like an unusual sexual interest in anything almost.
Kink. Ah, okay.
Um, but back in the 1950s, it meant something strange, something unusual. That's really all it meant back in the
Mm.
50s. And then it went to mean that it was an insult to gay people,
Yeah. Okay.
and you weren't really allowed to use it unless you were angry about something, and you could still be. This is quite a tricky word to use, I would say, because there is, of course, hate speech, something called hate speech, isn't there? And so I think it's really how it is said, really. So if you're a queer person and you're saying it, it's okay. But if you're having an argument with someone, you probably can't say it. You probably know more about that than I do, legally, I should say. Okay, so any other words here? Korean. I think there was the word desire somewhere. Yeah, just above it, wasn't it? So again, that's an R word, isn't it? So maybe we just read out the novel fueled that bit there, maybe. So the novel is fueled by desires they've mostly kept hidden. Just rereading that little bit there once again.
The novel is fueled by desires they've mostly kept hidden.
Yeah, you said that perfect, I would say. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. So maybe these first couple of words. So novel and fueled,
Fueled.
fueled.
Novel is fueled.
Um, I can't quite hear the F. It's a little bit. I can hear what you're saying, but it's just a little bit. It's not quite very. It's not quite clear enough, I would say. It needs to be a little bit clearer. The F at the front. So if I say the word again, so fueled, fueled. Okay.
Fueled. Fueled.
Yeah, the F is still a bit unclear when
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
saying it.
Fueled.
Okay, so let's maybe do a couple of other words. So that's the word there. So, whoops, I missed out the F somehow. Strange. Field. Can't think of any other words. So just these two words then. If I say the first one, so fueled, fueled. So something has enough fuel so that it works properly. Perhaps a car or a fire with enough fuel to burn. And this one here is field, field, field. So do you fancy just saying both of these words here, one after the other? Is that okay?
Fueled. Field.
Yeah, I'd still say your F is just a bit sort of, it needs to be, I say you need to double the amount now to sort of strength you give it sort of a thing. It's
So
just a
I
bit,
just make it strong, you mean?
yeah, stronger. Double the amount of
Mm.
energy you're putting into it if you can.
Mm.
Field, field.
Field. Field.
Um, Maybe I'm
Yeah.
mistaken. Let me just pump it in here. Let's listen to it here again. So field. Let's hear them say it.
field,
And again,
field,
field. Practice it just once more. So field.
Field.
Okay. It might just be that the microphone is not reacting fast enough when you're saying the word. So it's sort of not your microphone isn't quite hearing you, I think. So do you think you're saying it quite reasonably strongly at the beginning? The F bit. F field.
Uh,
Field.
Field.
Yeah. I could hear it then. Yes. Yeah. I think that's better. Yes. Okay. Okay. So and maybe this word here. So these two words. So even fiction.
Even fiction.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. That's perfect. Even fiction. That's it.
Characters was correct. Character.
Um, Character.
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 Have I spelled it correctly? I have. Yes. Wow. Character. Character. Character.
character,
We're going to
Character.
practice it. Yeah, so I'll click the button so they say it. Then it's my go. Then it's yours. So here we go for them. Character.
character,
My go. Character. Your go.
Character.
And maybe once again. So them.
character,
Character. Character. Your go.
Character. I probably need to
Uh,
practice a bit.
yeah, I think you probably do it. I think you're rushing the middle bit a little bit. Or maybe you're slow at the beginning, and then you rush it, and then you're slower. So I guess I know the word that you're saying. Now I'm guessing um, character. So character, character. It's one of those words I don't think we do rush it when we're pronouncing it, really. Some words we do rush through it, like we said to ridicule previously. But for whatever reason, this character isn't the word we rush through. I don't really know why that would be. Let's listen to it again.
character,
Yeah, I think so. Character, character. Do you want to just say it again?
Character.
Yeah, I think you've slowed it down a little bit there. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's really getting there. But again, just practice it a little bit more. So perhaps have that as a word to practice a little bit further. Um, but when you are practicing, have something to practice against. So perhaps listen to an online dictionary such as this,
Mm.
because you can't really practice with yourself in a sense doing this, because you do need to say it out loud, but you also need to hear the word said too, I think, really. So that's one of the reasons one of the reasons we're making these recordings to something to hear the word and then repeat it. I think it makes all the difference. Um, and there was a word that came up in the last reading, and it came up here too, but I just can't see it now. It must be there, I think, but I just can't see it. So it was the word. We didn't actually mention it last time, but just so though. though. So let me just try and find it in the passage. So that's it there. So it must have come up the second time as well. So there is it though. Yeah, there we go there. So fretting about. So maybe just reread that little bit there. I think this is the previous reading, isn't it? But let's do it again anyway. That little bit there. So it's about 5 minutes before 7 now. So for most of my life, the anxiety was under control. I thought it a friend, a benign sentinel, guiding me away from errors I'd regret. So that's thought, isn't it? So I think it just searched out that bit there, missed out the T, didn't it? So here, oh, there's the though. There we go. So it can feel as though I'm risking far too much by writing anything. So it's quite tricky reading this little passage, isn't it? It can feel as though I'm risking far too much by writing anything. So it can feel as though. So it's just the though. Though. Do you want to just practice that little bit there? It can feel as though.
It can feel as though.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And maybe once more. So it can feel as though.
It can feel as though.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Though. Yeah, that's it. I
As
think you've
though.
got it there. Yeah.
Though.
Though. Yeah, that's it. That's fantastic. That's good.
Okay, I probably need to drop
Yeah.
off now, Tony, so
Okay.
to keep to continue my work.
Okay. Back to work again.
Yeah, so I owe you money, I know, so I will transfer you to £10.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so all right.
That's wonderful.
All right,
Okay.
thank you, Tony. Bye bye. Next time.
See you next
next
time. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thanks for coming.